Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we are looking at a brand new Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile. This time it's at Ignister. Very, very cool cyberspace deck. But it also got a really nice buff in Power of the Elements with Mathmech Circular coming out. Now we're splashing in a Mathmech engine to the deck because it's just so good. It raises the ceiling for the deck. It also raises how much interruption the deck can play through and how resilient it can be. And that's exactly what at Ignisters we're looking for. So really, really cool variant here. Going to go through the deck list, obviously doing with the new deck profile format on the channel. We're going to start with a very quick deck list just so you can see what I'm playing. Part 2 will just be explanations for the card choices we're playing here today. Part 3 will be a quick one card combo with Circular, showing you how one Circular can just straight up get you to the Ad Ignister engine. And then finally a test hand, giving you a good example of how the deck can and hopefully should play out if I don't like duff it up. But yeah, very, very cool. Before we get into it, subscribe to the channel if you have not yet and you want to see more deck profiles and just anything Yu-Gi-Oh from me. New format here, trying it out with the face cam on the deck profile, which is pretty cool. We'll see how it goes. Sorry the lighting's like a little bit weird. I'm going to try and figure that out as we go, but my situation's kind of weird with the lighting. I just got to figure out what the best way to do that is. But I guess without further ado, let's just jump into the actual card list here. Alright guys, so zooming through the deck list here, we start with triple copies of a Chi-Chi as well as triple copies of Picari for our normal summons. We also play the rest of the Ad Ignister lineup, which is Baruru, Doyan, 1 Hiari, 1 Getchiri, and 1 Donmari. Feels like a pretty solid lineup to me. For the Mathmech monsters, triple copies of Circular, of course, best card in the deck. 1 Sigma, 1 Addition, 1 Subtraction, all really good, all extenders, none of which are bricks. Then we move to the monster hand traps, triple copies of Veiler, then we're on 2 copies of Ash, 2 copies of Ogre, 2 copies of Crow for the rest of the monster hand traps. We're also playing Impermanence, but we'll get there later on. 3 copies of Synapse Mining, really nice card, just searching you either Circular or an Ad Ignister card, which is really good. AI Michu, really, really good card as well. Usually this is grabbing you a normal summon if you don't have one, but also just gets you an extender to play through Interruption. 1 Ignister AI Land, 1 Idol Reborn, and 1 FA Iding Spirit. How do you even pronounce this card? Whatever. And then another monster reborn with Mathmech Equation. Cosmic Cyclone, Call by the Grave for the quick play spells. And then for the only trap in the deck, triple Imperm. I like this hand trap, this format, specifically versus Sprite, a lot. Alright, so moving into the extra deck, 4 Link 1s, double copies of Dark Infant, and 1 Lingaribo for the Link 1s. For the Link 2s, double Splash Mage, 1 Cyber Swick Kid, and 1 Update Jammer for OTKs. For Link 3s, 1 Dark Templar, 1 Transcode, and 1 Decode Talker Heat Soul. And Link 4, only Link 4 is Access Code, and the only Link 6, of course, is your main boss monster in the deck, the Arrival at Ignister. And finishing up the extra deck, 1 copy of Wind Pegasus, 1 copy of Light Dragon, and 1 copy of Promathmech Alan Bershin. No Laplation here, we'll talk about that more in the explanations. Though, that concludes our actual deck list for today. Let's hop into the discussion on why I'm playing everything that I am. Alright, Duelist, into the actual explanations part of the video. We're going to start with our starters. I like breaking up this part of the video by roles of cards in the deck. So we'll start with the triple Chi-Chi and the triple Picari, both your main normal summons for the Ad Ignister cards, both pretty much full combo on their own for the Ad Ignisters. Then, of course, triple Circular, triple AI Michu, and triple Synapse Mining as well. This lineup feels pretty good. I mean, these to me are all starters in their own right. What I love here is the versatility, though. I would say the Ad Ignisters are like most of these starters, but you have to think about the engine. I mean, even if you open them together, the first one is going to go into Dark Infant. You're going to search a island, and then you're just going to summon these out of the hand. It's not going to be a problem at all. So I really love that they can kind of just like, and the fact that Synamine can grab Circular or any other extender pretty much in your entire deck. So I love the dual utility there. Circular doesn't take your normal summon, but if he's your only play, he is just like one of the craziest starters in your deck, so you still have to respect him at the end of the day, which I freaking love. And yeah, so there you go. Long story short, these are all starters to me, but I think it's also important to keep in mind that like this, and this specifically are also extenders pretty well, but also these can even be extenders if you're seeing them in hands that would otherwise be like clunking up on too many normal summons. So that's really, really good. Moving on to the extender portion, we have a bunch of one-offs here. One Hiyari at Ignister, one Getchiri at Ignister, and then for the Mathmechs, one Sigma, one addition, one subtraction. And then when you get to the spell portion of the extenders, I consider A Island an extender, A Idol Reborn, Fighting Spirit, and then the Mathmech Equation. So Cyberse decks generally really, really love to take advantage of Monster Reborn spells. They're just so good because to be a good Cyberse deck, you kind of have to take advantage of Link 1s, which means you very, very easily put a Cyberse monster in grave, which is really, really nice. But yeah, one of the things I love about the Mathmech cards is that these are just one-offs, and they're mainly cards you don't really... They're not optimal to draw, but they're not bad to draw at all. They're just extenders. And half the time, just being able to like climb up into Heat Soul and draw a bunch of cards, and we play a good amount of hand traps and stuff like that can grind you to a win through multiple hand traps. It's really solid. But all good in their own right. Equation is kind of awkward because if you don't get to the Mathmech engine, this card is kind of dead. So that's like the one thing that I would say. And really the only awkward part about Adignisters and how they don't translate into the Mathmech engine, but the Mathmech translates you to the Adignister engine. So all good other than that. Like these just jump on the field really easy. This can also give you an access code that's unaffected, which is really good before your opponent gets a chance to like respond to him at any point. And then all of these being crazy. Only one Adignister or Ignister A Island because if we're not pure, we're not like playing the card that draws us 3 or anything. So we don't need to focus on like getting multiple. And this card brings itself back from grave. So your opponent has to like pretty much like banish it. Otherwise, like you're going to be able to get it again with the Link 1, a second copy. And like it's just not that big of a worry to me, to be honest. All right, so into like the engine requirements, the other engine requirements for the Adignisters, we just have one Doyan, one Baruru, and one Donmari. Donmari is really the only hard brick in the deck, in my opinion. But he's fine. You have to plan because otherwise you just don't have a real good interruption payoff for the Adignister engine. But boy howdy, this is just a great, super generic, like just one-stop anything kind of card, which I really appreciate. Then the Baruru, this card is really good. Being able to foolish your Donmari to get him set up in grave and also a tuner. Just part of the combo. And this card's crazy. In a pure list, I would almost play 2 of this because this card is just on summon. It gets you a monster back from grave, and then when it's linked off, it can like add any AI spell or trap back to hand. Like this card literally is a +2. It's crazy. But you need him for the grind. He's still really good. I like him a lot. There, and you can search him, so pretty easy. Moving on from there, we move to the hand trap lineup. Here we'll start with triple copies of Effect Veiler, and then we get to the 2 Ash, the 2 Ogre, and the, well, I guess we come down here. 2 DD Crow, and then finishing up with the Infinite Impermanences. This is like nothing too crazy. I just think for this format in specific, like this is it. Obviously, if you're looking at this profile outside of like the Power of the Elements format, things are going to be different, but I love Impermanence and how it can hit Gigantic Splight even if they put a red on field early, which they like to do in good hands. DD Crow just seems really good in the mid-range of this game. I even like to hold this card as long as I can to pretty much fire this at a super opportune time versus either Sprites or Terra Elements. Ogre's just good versus Sprites. It's pretty much just like it's pretty much the equivalent of like Gamma on Gigantic Sprite. Ash is a hard one's return. It just feels really mediocre this format. I think it's okay, but it's not like great. And then Veiler as well. There. So just my personal lineup there. And then finishing up with some quick play spells. 1 copy of Cosmic and 1 called by the Cosmic. It's just the 1 Mystic Mine out. I just like playing 1 Mystic Mine out in pretty much any deck, especially since we've seen the last 2 biggest tournaments in the TCG. Like so many decks top when they just play a bunch of Mystic Mine. I'm not trying to lose to those decks, so yep. And then called, just as, you know, we're playing combo deck. It's called, whatever. It works. All right, so that's it for the main. Moving into the extra deck here. Your Link ones, obviously the 2 Dark Infants and the Lingaribo. These are really good. I think I like 2. One, if somebody tries to like unicorn your field spell, you can use the second one to get the field spell out again. Otherwise, if it's sent to grave, it's going to be able to set itself back to the field super easily. So they have to like Cosmic it. They have to banish it. Otherwise, it's just not leaving. So really good. And also a lot of people know that sometimes if you negate this, after negating a normal summon, this can be the difference between you being able to play or not. So sometimes it'll hit the first one, which means I want to have a second one, just for a later turn to be able to reestablish a island and just get things going. And then Lingaribo. This card's just so good, especially versus decks like Eldritch. Being able to negate and banish a trap is like really good. So there's that, and then also the fact that it can even come back as well. Just every turn, just to threaten those kinds of decks is really cool. So I like having a nice option for those kinds of matchups, because this deck going second could be really bad versus certain back row decks. Into the Link 2s, double splash mage. I just like 2 for the grind. Use 1 turn 1 and then have a second one to be able to climb into access code on a later turn. I think that's pretty necessary. And then Wicked, part of the combo, searches you Bururu. But this card is essentially the card that bridges Mathmech with the Ad-Ignister, because you can make this via the Mathmech stuff, search out Bururu. You've never normal summoned, and then Bururu, continuing on is kind of what gets you there. It's pretty cool. The last Link 2 is 1 Update Jammer. This is probably arguably the most cuttable card in the extra. Well, maybe we have stuff like Lingaribo as well, but he allows you to OTK your opponent. You just make access code with him, attack twice, pop 4 cards on the field and attack twice for game, pretty much. Link 3 is Dark Templar, crazy card in the combos he comes up in. He's so good. If any Ad-Ignister is summoned to his zone, he just summons 2 more straight from grave. So he just gets you so much Link material on field all at once, which is awesome. And then Transcode, being able to help you extend. Almost want to play 2 of this, but the extract's way too tight to fit it in. And then Decode Talker Heat. So this card comes up a lot for me. If I open like a really good hand, which is just any Ad-Ignister starter plus Circular, you're going to end on this plus the Arrival, which is just so good. You're just going to draw hella cards. You're going to have a really hard card to out, and good luck to your opponent. 1 access code just to pretty much end games, and then Arrival. This is your main boss monster. He's winning you most of your games, to be honest. And then finishing up the non-links are obviously the Wind, the Light, and the Mathmech Alimbertion. This is just part of the combo. Makes your board better. Just punishes your opponent for like destroying anything during the duel, which is really good. Light Dragon, good. I like having this. Mainly this card's here so that you can reveal it to search Picari in certain hands. But you can still make him. He pops back row, I believe, right? No, he pops face-up monsters, my bad. And he has like a protection effect, so he's not even that bad. So pretty cool. And then Alimbertion, this is just part of the combo, being able to search out extenders and put the names in grave you need. It's really good. All right. So that is it for the explanations for everything there. Let's move into our 1-card combo, showing you how to connect Circular into the Ad-Ignister stuff. I'm assuming if you're watching this profile, you should know what like most Ad-Ignister stuff does. So hopefully this combo will just give you an idea of how these 2 specific engines will interconnect at a certain point. So let's hop into it. All right, boys, here we go. All right, duelists, here we go. Starting off with the Circular combo here. Obviously, you're going to fire his effect in grave. We're going to send ourselves our main boy Sigma as cost, by the way. So even if this gets negated, you still get an extender out of Sigma for free. So we'll summon him. We'll summon back the Sigma from grave. That's going to trigger Circular to go ahead and search any spell or trap for the archetype. Obviously, we just play the 1 here. I thought about playing the trap as well. I think it makes your best hands better, but it makes your worst hands worse, right? If you draw that card, it is just dead. By the way, I'm going to move Circle over here. I have a little bit of glare on that side. We'll try and stay on the left here. So from here, we're going to overlay these 2 into our Alimbertion. We're going to use his effect, detaching the Sigma, to go ahead and search. We're just going to grab a simple extender. I like grabbing Subtraction here just because Addition is just generally a little more live. With the less stuff you have access to, whereas Subtraction can just not be live sometimes depending on how big the monsters you have, and a lot of this deck's like Link 1s and main deck monsters just aren't big enough. So we're gonna go ahead and fire the Subtraction here, lowering Alimbertion. Then we're gonna go ahead and link these 2 off. And we're going to go ahead and make ourselves our Cyberus Wicked. From here, we're going to use Equation here. We're just going to reborn any of them. It literally does not matter, I don't believe. So then we're going to use Cyberus Wicked's effect when this is summoned, and we're going to add ourselves a Bururu. There. Now keep in mind, we have not normal summoned throughout this play at all. Not a single time, which is really funny, and I love it. So we're going to normal Brewer. We're going to use this effect to send. We're going to have to send Picari here, which is a little bit weird, but you'll see. You'll see how we do it. Let's see. All right, now I need to make sure I know where I'm going from here. Galaxy Defenders. Okay, so I think from here I need to take these two into Splash Mage. Then we go Splash Mage effect, reborning the Picari. Then we can take these two, and we'll link we'll synchro our way into Wind Pegasus. That's going to trigger Baruru, which I believe if it's used as synchro material for a Cyberus, you can target any monster in your grave that was used for that summon it out. So this is how we summon out Picari, not with its effects negated this time, so we'll trigger this. We'll finally get to search ourselves a spell card here. I think is this where we go for... Oh, I think we have to get an extender here. I think we have to get the quick play, which is kind of weird. I know, I guess it makes sense at the end of the day. Oh no, wait. That's not what we want here, is it? Yeah. Yeah, I think it is. Hold on. So let me take Picari. We're going to look it off with the Dark Infant. We're going to use Infant's effect, and we're going to grab the Field Spell. That's what I wanted. Oh, this needs to be AI Michu. That's what it is. Okay, my bad, my bad. So we're going to grab the Field Spell. We're going to grab the Field Spell. So we grab AI Michu off of the Picari effect. So then we're going to go ahead and activate the Field Spell. We're going to take, I believe, all three of these monsters into a Dark Templar. We can go ahead and fire the AI Michu, which will grab us a Chi-Chi, which is very good. We're going to go ahead and use the, well, we got to reveal, obviously, the Heat Soul. Then we can use the Field Spell, summoning a Chi-Chi. We can go Chainlink 1, then Chainlink 2 here. So we can go ahead and reborn 2 Ignister monsters from grave, and then also resolve a Chi-Chi, searching for another monster. I don't really think an extender is doing a ton for us here, to be honest, but you know, assuming it doesn't here, let's just go ahead and grab ourselves the best follow-up normal summon the deck has, which is Doyon, and then we can go ahead and, well, actually, I don't even think we need to use its follow-up effect. We can take all 4 of these into the Arrival Cyberus at Ignister. These are all different attributes, by the way, so that's actually a 4,000, I believe, at Ignister, or Arrival, and then we can use the Field Spell one more time, summoning out Doyon. Doyon's going to give us an ad for a monster, so we'll grab a Chi-Chi, and then we'll actually go ahead and link this off for Lingaribo, just for a potential extra interruption, and on that we'll use Doyon's effect one more time, and add AI Michu back to the hand as well. So there you go. I believe that's your combo there. That's off of 1 circular. You're going to end on the Field Spell, 2 follow-ups. We don't have the negate engrave. That's the one downside here, is that, like, technically we don't have an interruption aside from Lingaribo, but this is still a really annoying board to deal with. Sorry, there's a little fucking fly zooming around right now. It's really peeving me off. But yeah, so all in all, really, really solid. I mean, this just shows you how circular can get you to the Cyberus side of your deck, or I'm sorry, your Ad Ignister side of your deck, if need be. Really, really sweet. You've got a lot of stuff set up in grave, and you're kind of ready to pop off between Sigma, between potentially Doyon here. Actually, maybe it's better to just add Picari here, because we can add a monster anyway, because that's why Picari can just straight up search us for a monster reborn, which can get us Doyon and just get like a ton of extra resources back. So maybe I like that instead. But yeah, really, really cool. Just a ton of follow-up, really solid value off of that 1 card, and it didn't even take your normal summon to start. So even if it gets stopped, but it gets you some bodies started up, you're going to be able to extend really easily with any normal summon, which is really cool. So there you go. There's your quick little combo tutorial. Let's get to one final test hand to show you the full scope of how to play the deck out. All right, folks, for our test hand, 5-card hand, DD Crow, AI Reborn, AI Michu, Signet Mining, and Signet Mining. I never mind playing Signet Mining at 3 because if you draw 2, if the argument against drawing 2 just means you discard the second one. Okay, so this is pretty good. We have like 2 searchers here, which is really, really nice. I guess I would start here. Well, so here's the thing. I want to fire off the circular first. So let's pitch mining off of mining, and let's grab ourselves circular. I think that's probably the most important thing. We need to threaten our opponent with circular immediately before we even worry about AI Michu. I think that's the best way to do it because you want to go through Sigma before you have to do anything else. So let's go ahead and do circular. Dumping the Sigma for cost. Let's assume our opponent has a hand trap in hand. I think that's the safest way to go about it. We will activate Sigma Engrave. Reborn him. That's going to trigger circular to search. Your opponent really doesn't have much reason to negate you here. In fact, let's just assume our opponent has like let's assume they have like the best hand trap to like counter circular. Well, they just wouldn't crow here though. Whatever. I don't know, man. Let's just assume our opponent has crow. And let's say they're going to crow the Sigma. Whatever it is. Like, just cutting us straight up off of the Mathmech line. They don't know that we don't have more stuff in hand, but let's just assume they just use a hand trap that's going to cut us off from that line, just banishing Sigma outright, not letting us trigger the circular. I'm okay with that. So from here, we're going to fire the AI Michu. We're going to go ahead and add ourselves a Chi-Chi. We revealed the Heat Soul in extra deck. So I want to show off how this deck can like just be more resilient now. We're going to normally a Chi-Chi. A Chi-Chi is going to search us. Picari. Then we're going to go ahead and link off the Chi-Chi for this guy, Dark Infant. From here, we need to go ahead and use Dark Infant and search ourselves the field spell. We're going to activate said field spell. We're going to, oh, we can't just yet. Hold on. Let's get these 2 out of the way for Cyber's Wicked. So we'll use AI Land, Special Summon Picari. That's going to go Chainlink 1, then Chainlink 2. So we'll use a Wicked to just go ahead and add ourselves the Baruru, and then Picari can go ahead and add us another card. I don't know exactly what I want here. I already have a Idol Reborn, so let's just go ahead and I guess search the other one. You know, and I feel like Adignisters could use like a legit good interruptive trap card. I feel like that would be pretty useful for them. We'll grab the Fava-Eating Spirit just so we can keep extending if we need to, or it's just follow up for next turn. Alright, so from there, we need to clear this main monster zone so we can get Baruru out onto the field. So we'll go ahead and we will link these 2 off for a dark. No, I can't do Dark Templar. He needs 3 different monsters. Do I reborn now? I don't think so. I don't think I reborn now. No, I don't need to. I don't need to do that. We'll go Splash Mage, right? We'll go Splash Mage effect. We'll just reborn any of these. Doesn't really matter. We'll grab a Chi-Chi, right? Actually, no, I think I don't want a Chi-Chi. I think I want... Oh, I'm sorry, not yet. Then we're gonna use a Island first. We're gonna summon out Baruru. Then Baruru's gonna get us Ascend for... We're just gonna get Donmari set up. Whoops, skipped him. There we go. Now we can fire Splash Mage, and we'll actually reborn. We want Picari here because it's the right level for the Synchro. We'll go ahead and make Wind Pegasus. That's going to trigger the Baruru to just summon back Picari, which is very nice. And then we can go ahead and take these 3 into Dark Templar. Right, that seems pretty good. Alright, cool. From here, we've got extenders. We can grab Fava-Eating Spirit, and we can go ahead and reborn one of these boys. Don't really matter, right? No. So you can just go ahead and go bloop, and then Dark Templar is going to go ahead and bloop, bloop. Okay, from here, do we just go immediately into it? You might. That might be the way to go, like, actually. Yeah, I think that's just the way to go, to be honest. So, we'll just take all 4 of these. We'll make the arrival. We did search off of a Chi-Chi, right? I'm not going crazy. Yeah, we searched Picard at the very beginning. Yeah, I mean, I think this is fine. I mean, it's nothing crazy, but if it's through a hand trap, you know, we're still getting to the towers through a hand trap. We've got the Wind Pegasus engraved, which is always going to be unassuming. Sigma's gone. That's the one, like, downside there, but that's not the biggest deal in the world. We also have A-Idol Reborn and DD Crow at our disposal to potentially still eat up our opponent. So we've got DD Crow plus the Donmari and A-Idol Reborn for like a guaranteed follow-up. I can summon something like a Chi-Chi or Picari on my opponent's end phase just so I can guarantee myself a search even before passing to my next turn, so I can still use them again on that turn as well, which is pretty sweet because I can like reborn a Chi-Chi, search Doyon, and have like my best follow-up card at the ready to fire on the next turn. So I'll take that. I feel like that's a pretty solid hand through like what I would say is like a pretty impactful hand trap at that point. Just straight up neutralizing the Mathmech engine, but still ending on a decent amount of advantage and payoff considering those shenanigans. But I'll take that. Nothing too crazy there, but hopefully that's a good example of what you can expect to see when you play this deck for yourself. But yeah,